la segunda jornada. Esta jornada es, yo diría, la más relacionada con sostenibilidad ambiental, porque tenemos aquí a Cecilia, tenemos a Vincenzo, más tarde vamos a tener a Ulrica, que son verdaderos expertos en esta área. Vamos a iniciar la jornada con la conferencia del profesor Vincenzo Naddeo, y para mí es un gran placer tener, yo diría, a uno de los líderes más jóvenes en el campo de una nueva línea de investigación que yo diría nació en el 2009 con la Declaración del Agua y la Energía antes de la conferencia de Copenhague, que se llama el Nexo Agua-Energía. Entonces, ahora me paso al inglés y Vincenzo, welcome. It's a great pleasure to introduce you in this conference. Vincenzo comes from the University of Salerno. He is the head of resource of the Sanitary and Environmental Engineering Division, and he's also a visiting professor at the Washington University and also in Taiwan. And he's associate editor of at least 11 peer-reviewed journals. Then, Vincenzo, your audience, welcome again.
Thank you, Alexander. Good morning to everybody. As I said some minutes ago, this morning I wake up very early and I started my day with a lecture in a class in Taiwan with a good afternoon. Now, after the Italian lunch, I can start again my talk with the good morning. This is, I think, one of the good things that we learned by this pandemic situation. We can cooperate without barrier, without limit. There are people in different countries, in different continents. We work together. The cooperation is one of the main points for the sustainability. Each one can work in the same goal. Thank you again. Can I share the screen? I have a presentation. One moment. Okay.
Sí, se salió de la reunión.
Tal vez quiso compartir y se le salió, pero ya
ingresó.
You should be able to share it. Yes.
Wow, infinity scheme. Okay, I think. Please come. Now I don't see you. You can see the slide.
Yes,
we can.
We can see.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Sorry for this technology gap. Today I'll have the mission to talk about the water energy nexus and the relationship with this hot topic with the development of smart cities. Of course, all these are inside the main sustainable development goals. All these goals are very, very well known to all of us and are linked for the mission that we and the United Nations every day try to work, that are increase the quality of life of the people. Inside this link, we have, of course, some of that very clear that are connected directly and indirectly with all others. These two links are, of course, the number 6, that is clean water and sanitation, and number 7, that is clean energy. Water and energy are very strongly interconnected. To produce water, clean water, we need energy. Probably it's very easy to understand that for the wastewater treatment and for the potabilization and to move the water, we need energy. But at the same time, to produce energy with a lot of kind of conventional alternative technology, we need water, a big amount of water. According to this, we need to be very careful. Any drop of water, if we waste any drop of water, we are wasting indirectly energy. because this water was treated before arriving our tap in our house. At the same way, additional energy will be used for the treatment of this drop of water together to other waters. At the same way, probably not all of us thinking that when we are watching TV, our favorite movie, we are also consume water. Yes, because for the energy that we are using in somewhere in your country, in the country, there is some plant. This plant use a big amount of water for produce the energy. In addition, water and energy have a lot of parallelism, but also have two different aspects. If from one side it's possible to storage water for a long time and keep its quality longer, is not the same way for the energy. When we produce energy, we can't keep them for a long time. Of course, there are the battery, but this is another challenge to produce battery that can keep the energy in one place for a long time, and to move the energy also, we waste energy too. For this reason, a lot of government ask and implement action for the local production of energy, and of course, and as we can see, also for using alternative technology for produce this kind of energy. The global challenger, of course, are linked to water and energy. If we see some data from World Bank, we can see that a lot of people in the world don't have access to electricity, and as the same way, don't live in area with a very high water stress. If we imagine that the quality of life of the people will increase from now to by 2035, the Water Bank is estimating that we need to increase the production of energy about over 35%, and the same way, according to this increasement of energy, we need also to increase the access of clean water up to 85%, because this kind of water will be used for the production of energy, and at the same time, of course, for the needs of the more people. Yes, I said before and try to say again, the sustainable development, the main goal is to increase the quality of life of the people. The subject is development. We need to increase the quality of life. This quality of life must be better year by year, place by place, but of course this increase of quality don't need to affect the quality of life of other citizens and of course of the next generation. But we are engineering, we are studying in technical way in which way we can measure the quality of life, and in which way we can understand if some technology is sustainable or not sustainable. According to my approach, and the approach that is used in the water energy nexus approach, we need to check if the system, ecosystem, or anthropic system, or urban system is unsustainable. Because if it is unsustainable, of course, is not in line with the SDG. In this picture, it's a funny picture, we can see, of course, a system where there is a donkey and a lot of parks, and it's clear that it is unsustainable system, because a pressure is past the load capacity of the system. Each system has some load capacity. If we pass this load capacity and we are overloaded, the pressure are unsustainable for the system. Of course, this is only a simplification. There are a lot of variables, and also the time to act is also important to do that. Anyway, in the water cycle, there are a lot of pressure, a lot of emission, a lot things to do to make the more sustainable the cycle. We can see that in different point of the cycle we use a big amount of energy. At the same time, don't forget that a lot of steps also produce greenhouse gases. Of course, are two different things. One thing is our energy, another thing is a greenhouse gases. To produce also energy, sometimes we produce a lot of greenhouse gases. In the water cycle, also the big mission is to produce clean water and sanitation and remove contaminants. In this context, one thing is the preservation.
Excuse me, Vincenzo,
of the environment.
we're not seeing the presentation.
It's not changing the presentation? I don't know why.
Yeah, could you please try to share it again?
Oh, sorry. I don't know which slide you. Probably I don't put the.
I think the monkey, the donkey slide.
The overload long monkey.
Okay, you see this slide, okay? I come in this one. You can see the water cycle now?
No.
No. In this way, you see the water cycle? No.
No.
I share again. I don't know what's up. Okay.
Now it's start to share.
Okay.
It's okay.
You see the water cycle now?
Yes.
Yeah, now.
Okay, sorry for this other gap. As we can see, the water cycle is a priority. Of course, the water is one of the main resources that must be used for produce food, clean, safe food. Of course, is a strategic resource for our life, but at the same time can increase some part of emission in terms of CO2 and needs a lot of energy. According to International Water Association, we need to move from conventional business and management of a water cycle to low carbon utility and carbon neutral approach, where we can in the same time, with the same mission, reduce the impact on ecosystem, controlling the contaminant, emerging contaminant, and conventional contaminant. But at the same time, we need also to reduce the greenhouse gases like CO2 and their emission. We are able with different technology to sequester this emission, to produce oxygen, and also to produce some fuel or directly some energy. In this context, we need to understand that there are some sectors like the food industry. Here I am from Italy, I put some Italian food, but you can imagine in each country with his clearly food, every day a lot of food will be produced, will be moved around the world, arrive in our supermarket, and probably a significant part of this food never well sold. And then will be considered it as a waste. Think of the amount of energy and the amount of water that was used for produce this food, and the same amount of water and
Para mí se congeló.
Sí.
No sé para ustedes. Ah, ok.
Yeah.
Se quedó
is
congelado.
Yeah,
you
you're
can
back.
see
Yeah. Go ahead. Yes.
the fashion industry. Italy is very famous in the world for the food and for the fashion industry. These two sectors are very strongly affected by the use of water and the use of energy. To produce one t-shirt, we need a lot of resources. Sometimes this kind of t-shirt for the will be used only a few times a life, and very often become a waste. In the in this sector, not all countries in the world are very active in recovery, textile, used textile, implement a circular economy in this way. These are only two examples of the big work that we have. Another challenge linked to the water cycle is the wastewater treatment plant. Everyone knows that is very important. It's important to control the environmental quality, but now the wastewater treatment plant have a different mission. The wastewater treatment plant is considered one of the big urban bioraffinery or urban mining for the city. From the wastewater treatment plant, we can produce clean water, we can produce nutrients for agriculture. Another step that we can see is possible to implement urban agriculture in sustainable way, more often than our traditional agriculture. Also, we can produce energy or fuel from wastewater. If from one side we can reduce the solid waste, on other side, probably the amount of wastewater can be reduced not too much. But inside the flux, in our flow rate of wastewater, there are a lot of resources that can be recovered. Some good example of water energy nexus approach in the water cycle are very well presented by International Water Association with the case study of Thailand, Jordan, Mexico, and Peru. And I'm very happy to see that our publication, our study are used for the design of all these case studies. All this information are present in this book. It's free online and it's very easy to find searching the low carbon urban water utility. This is a very useful and practical guide for the implementation of water energy nexus approach in a water cycle. What do we need to do? In which way we can consider the challenger? In the water cycle, we have three different areas with a very consolidated technology that can be integrated together in the nexus approach. The first thing is the water in the cycle is in the movement. We can and we have technology that can convert kinetic energy in electrical energy. Everywhere we have a movement, we can produce energy, of course, also in water cycle. Another important, and we discussed about that, we have resources, are very important. We have technology to recover nutrients from wastewater treatment plant, but also now we are looking to produce polymer for the production of bioplastic, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Also, we are able to produce a chemical for pharmaceutical compound. Last but not least, in the water cycle, some flux have a very different temperature respect to environmental temperature. This different of temperature can be also used for the production of energy. If we integrate all this technology together in the water cycle, we are making some water energy nexus approach for reduction of environmental impact and increase of sustainability of the cycle. At the Sanitary Environmental Engineering Division at the University of Salerno, we are a group of several professors, young PhD students, research fellows that work every day on different technology. This is our consolidated international networking. I hope that in the future also Colombia will be included in this our networking, and we exchange a lot of students, including in this pandemic situation. Like you can see, there are some of my students that are in this moment in Spain, in Saudi Arabia, in other part of the world, as well as we have in my lab student, visiting PhD students from all around the world, and as well as also Salerno is in the heart, in the center of the Mediterranean Sea. A lot of my colleagues come to visit our lab to integrate our research activity in different international research projects. We are working on several topics linked to water energy nexus approach that can be implemented, as we can see very soon, in smart cities. One is the next generation of aquaponic system. In aquaponic system, we have in one side the fishes, in other side the vegetable. We use the nutrient from the fishes, from the for the plants. All these for the control of the quality and the circular economy approach, for the implementation of a safe, clean urban agriculture. Taking an imagination, if we are able to produce in the city the food that the city needs, we reduce too much the environmental pressure. Also, we are working in other area of water in air quality, and we patented a next generation of electronic nose that use also algorithm in artificial intelligence for monitoring odors. Odors are very important and strategic in several fields, from wastewater treatment plant, solid waste management, think about the composting plant, but also to control the process like aquaponic process. Very quickly, we work on a bioraffinery for recovery material from our waste. In detail, I have a PhD student is working on recovery material from food waste and from wastewater that is produced by food waste. At the same way, we are working for recovery material from our electronic device. Rare earth are very precious, are located only in some country in the world, and we need them for production of a new technology. A lot of countries in Europe, included Italy and Germany, are leaders for the recovery of material from our electronic device. And we call all this approach in the approach of urban mining. Of course, we have also a lot of consulting with the national authority. We support them for the monitoring of different environmental problems. These are some number of our publication and our activity, but the last part is how we can integrate all these aspects in urban context. We can see also another aspect is the goal number 11. The SDG number 11 is make city and a human, settled, inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Yes, of course, to do that, we need energy, we need water, we need to guarantee all other aspects. But what means exactly the goal number 11 and why this is connected to the smart cities? I remember again, the goal, the main goal of all SDG is increase the quality of life. To have a measurement of quality of life, the World Health Organization presents a very complex system with a lot of indicators that try to understand the different area of the quality of life. And very well we know that there is economic aspect, social aspect, environmental aspect, but also other area linked to the capacity to reach our personal goals. Another very interesting approach, analytic approach, was proposed by World Economic Forum, where there are big area of indicator linked to good jobs, well-being, environmental, health, and fairness. But according to my point of view, there is a more easy way to measurement the quality of life, to understand the quality of life. Then it's a little bit complicated to measure it. If we want to summarize all these indicators in only one, according to me, the real indicator that can say what is the quality of life of the people or the people in one city or in country is the number of happy days per year. If you are rich or poor, or if you are living in developing country or in a very developing country, your quality of life is high if you are able to spend part of your life happy. You can be happy because you are in love, you become happy because you have access to your needs. You are happy because you live according to the sustainable development. This is a not very new approach. This approach was presented in 1749. Think how many years ago, from one of Italian scientists that is also the mayor of the Ducato di Modena. Modena is one of a big city in Italy, and he tried a different approach. First time he tried to give money to all his citizens, asked them, don't work and live, enjoy your life. But at the end of 2 years, he understood that the people are not happy. We are without working, are not happy without with the possibility to buy what they need. According to this, changed the approach and give it to the people, to each people they work, and will be paid when reached the goals. After that, he see that the people are more happy to work to reach a goals. This is a very summary report of this very interesting book. It's a whole book, but probably is very actual also today. What we can consider in a city? Of course, in any city, changing the country, changing the religion, changing everything, there is a population. The population needs natural resource, included energy. It's not really natural resource. Of course, the activity of people in the city produce emission, waste, noise, and CO2 emission. It's important to understand that CO2 emission is not pollutant, but affect the climate change. What needs the people? Of course, need to live in clean and safe environment, need to live in efficient infrastructure. They love and hope to live in safety city. All these needs must be managed by the owner, by the mayor of the city. What are the priority of the mayor of the city? Ensure the resource. Without the resource, the people can live. Manage and control the environmental pressure. If there are noise, solid waste management are priority in any city in the world. Also, of course, we need to try to meet the needs of the people. And this is not easy to do, the last things, because the needs change by people, by area in the same city. Anyway, also looking in the past, there are very efficient models like the city metabolism that in empirical way try to describe what happened inside the city, how there are the main interaction from different environmental issue with the anthropic issue. This model was only a theoretical model until some years ago. Now, with the development of smart cities, we can measure everything everywhere, and we can consider that this theoretical model works very well. Of course, we need to act soon because all studies say that negative environmental impacts are growing according to the growth of the population. If we want to increase the quality of life of a population, probably people will better and buy more things. And if we don't change our approach, we increase the pressure. According to this, we introduce the smart cities. A lot of studies say that all people are very attractive for the word smart. According to my point of view, smart is a really sexy concept. Everybody want to be smartest and thinking that if buy smarting device are also smarter. This is work everywhere in the world. Then we can see somewhere. If you thinking a lot of device only for marketing reason have now the word smart near the name of a device. There is a smart pen, smart car, smart phone, and etc., etc., etc. Everything is smart. And the same way, also the city are becoming smart, and the people won't live in a smart cities because thinking that they can live better. Probably yes. But what is a smart cities? This is the official definition of a smart cities. I read this very quickly. A smart, sustainable city is an innovative city that uses information and communication technology, ICT, and other means to improve the quality of life, efficiency, and urban operation and services, with respect to, this is important, economic, social, environmental, and cultural or heritage aspect. Only with respect of this area, we can increase the quality of life and efficiency of urban operation services. What is the goal of the smart cities? The goal of smart cities is the same goal that in some way we can imagine that when we use remote control to see the TV. When we see the TV, we use our sense, human sense. We can use our eyes, our ear to see and hear what happens in TV. If we don't like, we know which button we can press to change the volume, to change the channel, and to fix the right situation. If we watch the TV alone, it's more easy to control the device. Of course, we need to be able to use the device. But imagine to watch the TV with your family or with a lot of people. Probably the channel that you want is not the channel of your father or your son. The volume that you are listening is not in line with your needs, and somebody asks you to change. This is what happened in the city. The need of the people are different. The people need to press the right button that must be in line with the majority or with the right environmental approach for the people to try to have a convergence in some kind of a problem. According to this, in the smart cities, we can consider that there are different aspects integrated each other. There are city eyes, there are sensors, and we need to cooperate with the colleagues from other area of engineering to produce this kind of sensors. Of course, all sensors are linked to the big brain of the city that generally now is a cloud system. If we monitoring what happened, this don't mean that the city is smart. The monitoring is the starting point for the smart city. It's like to see the TV without having remote control. You are understand that there is something right or not, but without remote control, you are not able to control the quality of life in the city or the environment in the city. According to this, the challenger in the design of smart cities is, and this is a very big mission for the environmental engineering cooperation with other figures, a professionality, to answer to this question. What, where, and when we need to monitoring something in each city. Another important aspect is to set the alert value of each sensors, of each indicator in each area. In different area with the same indicator can have the different alerts. Also, is more important to define and design a set of possible action, because when we see an alert, what we can do to reduce this alert, to reduce the risk. Last but not least, a decision making. When we need to make a decision, there isn't only one solution. In any case, there are different solutions. Some solutions are good for part of people, part of not. We need to have a very solid system that can consider all aspects of sustainability in the decision making. All these technology are very well known, are present now, and can be applied in different aspects of the city. If I have 5 minutes, I can show a very small video that presents some different technology. Are you able to see and to
Perfect.
listen?
Yes.
Yes.
Your mic is off, Vincenzo. Vincenzo, I'm sorry, we cannot hear you. Your mic is off.
César, mira por favor el panel de control.
Vincenzo, just to let you know that, Vincenzo, sorry.
Vincenzo, you are muted. You are muted, Vincenzo.
Your microphone is off.
I don't know why. Anyway,
yeah, now it's on.
No.
Anyway, you was able to see the video. The video have some text that you can read. I'm sorry that you don't listen my comments. Anyway, I think it was very clear. These are only some existing technology that today are possible to implement in our city. This is the dimension of the smart city in the world, also from EuroCity studies, and there isn't time to discuss, but we have a lot of different approach for the development of smart cities. We can have 4 categories according to the literature. There are new smart cities like Songo in Korea or Shenzhen in China, or experimental smart cities like Singapore, Hong Kong, or developing smart cities like Rio de Janeiro, Lagos, or Angkor, or again evolving smart cities like New York and London. Each one are smart cities, but are different one by one. Will be nice to discuss probably in next meeting, but in all this approach, the water cycle is in the center. Water and energy are in the center of their development. What are the indicators to monitoring are now very clear, are defined in this international standard organization. This is only the area where are defined the indicator. As you can see, there are economy, education, energy, environment. According to in addition to environment, we have wastewater, water and sanitation, solid waste. As you can see, environmental issues are one on the main priority to monitoring indicator in the smart cities. Also, at the Sanitary Environmental Engineering Division, we patented different technology that can be implemented in smart cities. We are trying to use some of them in some local city in Italy. Another one probably will be used in Korea very soon. What are the challenges and the limit that we have now? Of course, when we have a lot of environmental data, the one big issue is how to manage all this data. The big data, environmental big data is one big challenge for our engineering. The data is the new oil. It's very clear for us. Looking about Google, Facebook, how to make money. Looking our data, selling our data. In the same way, imagine how powerful is the smart city that can increase the quality of life of all people without the goal to selling our data. In this way, data scientists, environmental data scientists is another important, a very request figure in the near future. As well as the challenger that we have to think to pass, how to integrate artificial intelligence algorithm in the conventional environmental technology. This is a very important aspect. The general artificial intelligence is well known in different area, is not very well developed in environmental technology. Another big challenger is how to manage the big brother, the privacy that we have, how we can control the privacy. When we collect the data, the risk is that we can lose this data. And of course, there is also the cyber crimes that can be implemented. We discussed about what happened yesterday during this conference. Is not cyber crime, but when there are technology, there is some risk, and we need to manage this risk. Thinking if the quality of the city are linked to some automatic decision-making system according to artificial intelligence, if somebody affect this algorithm can affect the quality of life of a lot of people. This is the real risk in the smart cities. We're starting to see and to sell. The people buy smart device thinking that can be more smarter. According to my point of view, the smart devices are now a new drug. If you ask to some child to remove the internet connection of smart device, probably is the best solution that you can implement for bad guys. Anyway, the connection with the mobile phone and sanitation is very stronger. So think that in the planet we have more people that have mobile phone than toilet. If this is the people that we have in the planet, this is the people that have mobile phone. This is the people that have access to the toilet, because the people that have the toilet in our house is a little bit less. According also to the relationship for mobile phone and sanitation, it's also nice to understand, especially in this pandemic situation, that according to last study published on Nature, a mobile phone and smartphone is 18 times more rich of bacteria than a public restroom in the USA too. Thinking eat before go to lunch or eat something, generally we wash our hand and touch again our mobile phone. This is of course probably a risk, especially now in this pandemic situation. Another way, under my point of view, this is a really smart solution. A lot of people use smartphone during using the toilet. this picture. I made this picture 1 year ago in South Korea, and you can, in some moment, you can find a place where you can put your smartphone, and this is a smart place you can put your smartphone. Of course, it's a joke, but it's a really a solution that was implemented in some Asian continent country like Korea and Japan. My question is, do smart devices make us smarter people? I really don't know. Probably we need also to educate the people to use smart device, as well as we need to educate the people to have a use smart cities in the same time. The only one important approach is the consistency. We know very well that if we wash our teeth every day, 2 times a day or 3 times a day is better, with a very simple and energy-free activity, we can keep and save our hygiene, our oral hygiene. In other way, if we don't do that every day, constantly, probably the quality of our teeth decrease very fast in the time. Of course, we can do some things. We need to go in the dentist, but in this case, we need to use very big resources, economical resource, energy resource. At the end, we restore the quality of our mouth, our teeth, but are not the natural teeth. And of course, it's the same in the nature. If we do everything every day constantly, we use less resources, less energy resources, we are more sustainable. Otherwise, we can also try to do some things, but we need more energy, more resource to recover some contaminated sites and other issues related to that. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm sorry if there is some electronic gap, and if there are questions, I'm happy to answer all your questions.
Thank you, Vincenzo. The discussion is open now. I was thinking open this part of the presentation with a question of mine, but I was watching Cesar when the slide about intelligence artificial was passed. And I know that Cesar has a lot of questions for you because it's his field of research. Then Cesar.
All right. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Vincenzo. It was a great, funny, and well-designed presentation, and with your comments and everything, I think was a very enjoyable talk, and of course a lot of learnings and a lot of questions too. And one of them is just I was just wondering if in the seed lab they're talking about water consumption, and since we are working here at the university in IoT devices, Internet of Things devices, for smart irrigation, talking about smart irrigation, and one of the main issues around the world is that actually 70% of the world fresh water is being used on irrigation. That's a huge amount of water, and the optimization of that amount of water, not only on being able to know when to irrigate, but also to be able to know when not to irrigate, considering, for example, the raining seasons and humidity and other variables that we are working on those. So there are many, not many, a couple of countries that have been developing technologies around that, which the technology is there. There are two issues on that. One is that the communities, especially in small farms, they are not very prone to use technology, at least in Latin America and other countries. They are not very prone to use these technologies because of cultural issues, myths about technology, and all that. And that's one of the main concerns. And the other one is related to the cost of these technologies. There is still expensive to drop several sensors on the field to see how is the humidity of the soil, and you cannot, as a small farmer, to buy this type of technology. So the state and the government has to help on that. But my just to point that big issue on the table.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you and your team and your lab, the seed lab, are being dealing with those questions and those problems.
Thank you, Cesar. This is a very hot topic. Thank you for this question. As I mentioned very quickly, we are working on urban agriculture, combining aquaponic system, next generation of aquaponic system. If we imagine, of course, we need to irrigate well. This is a very point. For agriculture, also, we need the nutrients. In the city, we produce a lot of wastewater, rich of nutrient. The main goal is recovery wastewater, produce clean water, able to use in the city, in the same city, for irrigation, and at the same time recovery nutrient from our wastewater. Of course, to do that, we reduce too much the transportation. Think about generally the farms are very far away from the cities, where the food was transformed and used. To do that in the urban context is more easy, because generally are not conventional agriculture, are industry of for the produce of safe food using the circular economy. But in the same way, in some country, like in Israel or in other country, where the water resource is very important, are very able to use drop by drop with different technology, using satellite with integration with the other sensor. The main point is, as you say and mention, and also I try to mention a lot of time, in this moment, we have technology. The big step is the integration of this technology. Our role is decision making, because it's not very easy to say if we need one drop more or less of water, or when we need to give this water in the right moment. The decision, we are able to keep the data, collect the data, and also to act in automatically way. Our contribution is to support the decision making. There are two big ways to support this. In theoretically way, because we know the amount of humidity, amount of water must be ranged in these things, or with artificial intelligence. We forget the theory. We see and monitoring what happen in different scenario. In this way, when we have a lot of data, it's better for the artificial intelligence. And collecting all this action, we know what happened. But the main challenger is where we can implement this technology. The people are ready to do that. Probably we need a big investment and support from the government. Now in Europe, there is one of the biggest framework program for the implementation of sustainable development. We call it this Green Deal, European Green Deal. Considering the history of European Union, this is the big amount of money that the whole European Union give for implement the ecological transition and the digital transition. All in this way, with this public resource, we can hope that internet connection arrive everywhere. In this way, we connect the sensor and we can collect, have data. But also, we don't forget, when we install some technology, also we need people that have maintenance for this technology. Don't work forever, the technology. Sometimes people, okay, I have this technology, but after 2 years, 3 years, we need to stay on the technology and change in the time. And this is another work. We need the people expert in this field to support the transition. Is economical, social, of course, environmental, technological approach. All considering all together, we can act. The government must have a priority in this issue.
Thank you, Vincenzo.
Thank you.
Someone has another question? Okay, I have the mind. Vincenzo, you know, to advance towards sustainability conditions as a country or a territory requires the application of complex thinking and methods. For instance, environmental assessment like life cycle assessment, ecological economy, sociology, urban planning, etc. The water energy nexus indeed is a kind of vision. But for us, it's so complicated to reach that this kind of resource touch the government authorities to implement coherent and well-structured environmental policies. What is your vision about this point in order to emerging countries advance or to have a more coherent and good policies for sustainability in the long term?
It's clear, it's not easy. I think the secret is, as try to do Europe, transform the ecological transition in a deal. The people, private and public, need to invest because it's a deal. We can have more money if we are more sustainable. And if we are more sustainable, we have a higher quality of life. We need to implement like a fashion. Only the beauty and sustainable things are well, the other not. If we try to have this concept very well, a deal, and the same time and fashionable things, we can work together. But it's a not easy, a quickly approach. Of course, we have the weapon. We have a theory, we have a different model, we can consider and assess different scenario in different way. This is our mission. And we need to support the authority in the decision making. We need to support the authority in the priority list. Because sometimes we have the budget, but not the budget for all. We need to support the authority to find where is important to act first. We have the weapon, we have the approach. Of course, the resources are every time limited. We need to try to do that in the right way.
Thank you, Vincenzo. Someone else? I have another question, Vincenzo. I know that Salerno. I was visiting Salerno, and Salerno is a small city in the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. What is your vision to manage properly the water energy nexus in these cities close to the beach? Because maybe different to the cities in the mountains or in the inner parts of the countries. What is your vision about? We have this problem in Colombia. Colombia is a country with two seas, with a lot of problems of development in these regions, with stressed problems in the management of hydric resources in wastewater treatment in these regions. What is your vision and your advice for us?
I think this is another interesting question. Salerno is a small town, but it's a very touristical town. It's very close to Amalfi, Positano. I don't know if you know. Pompeii is very close to Salerno. We have before the COVID pandemic, a lot of millions of tourists every years in our country. In this way, tourism is important for the city, but also is a big pressure for the city. Citizens sometimes don't like this kind of tourism. Especially the small town in the south of Salerno that are rich of people in the summer and not in the winter. The wastewater treatment plant are hard to manage. My vision is that the smart water treatment plant must be transformed gradually in a bioraffinery. The use and implementation of algae and other technology that are able to sequester CO2 and produce biofuel are the future. And the same way, the use and introduction of hydrogen that is possible to produce from solid waste and from wastewater treatment plant is also a priority. But also we need to share information with the people. We need to inform the stakeholder about what happened. The communication in environmental issue is a priority. Sometimes we have technology, we have design, but the people don't want the technology because don't understand what are important for the city. I think now the limit are not the technology, but are the communication and the dissemination of the potential of this technology for the population. And to authority too. Sometimes also the authority can understand.
Thank you, Vincenzo. I don't know, Carolina. Or...
Thank you, Vincenzo. Thank you for participate to our Ideas to Reality. And if we don't have more questions, I'm going to the next exposition that we have. Okay, muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Vincenzo.
Gracias a
Muchas gracias.
Vincenzo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you for the invitation.